I never thought I'd be the guy posting something like this, but after everything that went down this past month, I honestly don't know what else to do with all of it. I've been carrying around this weird mix of grief and guilt for years, like a weight I learned to walk with. And now that weight cracked open in the most unexpected, almost cinematic way. If my life hadn't imploded in front of me, I'd think this whole thing belonged to some writer trying too hard. But this was real, painfully real. So, here's the context. My mom passed away 3 years ago. Cancer, the slow kind. The kind that robs someone piece by piece, until you're not just mourning their death, but the long goodbye before it. My older brother, Tyler, and I handled it completely differently. I was the hands-on kid, the one who slept on the stupid vinyl hospital couch for weeks. I'm the one who learned how to work the feeding pump and stayed up to track her meds. I'm the one who held her hand through the last night because he couldn't handle watching her go. And despite all that, somehow I became the villain. It started 3 days after her funeral. We were sitting in the lawyer's office, waiting for her will to be read. Tyler's knee was bouncing like a jackhammer. I thought it was nerves or grief. Turns out it was greed. When the lawyer unfolded the documents, the first hit came clean. My mom left the house to Tyler. I remember staring at the lawyer like he'd misread something. My mom and I talked about everything, like literally everything. I wasn't expecting a mansion or a trust fund or whatever, but I never imagined she'd leave the house to the son who barely visited unless he needed money, or a place to crash after he burned another bridge. But still, I tried to make sense of it. I tried to be the understanding younger brother. People grieve weird. People make choices we don't understand. But then the second hit landed. Worse, Tyler cleared his throat and said, loud, clear, rehearsed, before we move forward, I think it should be mentioned that some of Mom's jewelry went missing before she passed. Right after Adam, that's me, spent the night alone with her stuff. The room went silent. Even the goddamn AC felt like it paused. The accusation slid into the space like a knife. He said it like it hurt him to say it, like he was trying to do the right thing. He even made his voice tremble a bit, which was impressive considering he could barely fake an apology any time in his life. I laughed. It wasn't a normal laugh. It was the kind you let out when reality suddenly goes sideways. The kind that sounds unhinged. I looked at him and said, "Are you serious right now?" He didn't even look at me, just stared at the lawyer, who immediately shifted into that cautious professional mode, scribbling notes like we were in some courtroom drama. The worst part? Nobody defended me. Not my aunt, who'd hugged me at the funeral. Not my uncle, who'd told me I was a good son. Everyone just let the accusation sit there, poisoning the air. That night, the call started. First a cousin, then a second cousin, then some neighbor who barely knew us. All with the same tone. Polite, cautious, concerned. "Hey, did you really take something?" Your brother said. "Look, I'm not accusing you, but..." I spent the next week explaining myself to people who already seemed to believe him. Grief does something strange to families. It scrambles the logic centers. But even knowing that, it didn't soften anything. By month 2, I stopped going to family gatherings because every conversation started with too much politeness. The kind where people are overcorrecting, watching their words, watching you. It's exhausting being treated like a loaded gun no one wants pointed in their direction. Tyler moved into Mom's house 2 months after the funeral. He posted pictures of renovations on Facebook like he was some HGTV star. He even had the audacity to caption one of them, "Cleaning out the mess Mom left for me." Some people create more chaos than help, I guess. Everyone knew who the some people was. He made sure of it. And I moved on. Or I convinced myself I did. I found a new place, buried myself in work, kept my circle small. I told myself that being misunderstood wasn't the end of the world. But the quiet hurt never left. It just settled deeper. Here's the part that really matters. My mom always kept a safety deposit box. Not a big one, just a small little metal drawer at a local credit union. She told me once, during one of the late-night hospital talks, that she kept things that matter inside. I asked her what things, and she just squeezed my hand and smiled. "You'll see someday," she said. After she died, I couldn't bring myself to open it. I don't know why. Maybe I thought whatever was inside would break me. Or maybe I was afraid it wouldn't matter at all, that she'd left nothing meant for me, not even words. That maybe Tyler was right, and I really was the invisible son. The box just stayed there. 3 years. I paid the fee. I ignored it. Grief makes you do weird, avoidant things. Then, last month, I finally opened it. I don't even know what triggered the courage. Maybe a therapist would call it delayed closure, or some poetic nonsense. All I know is one random Saturday morning, I drove there, hands shaking the whole way. Inside the box, there wasn't jewelry. No money. No deeds. No sentimental trinkets. Just one envelope, with my name on it. The handwriting was undeniably hers. And inside that envelope were 5 words. 5 words that didn't just change everything. They detonated my brother's reputation like a grenade. I didn't open the envelope right there in the bank vault. I couldn't. My hands were shaking so hard the manager actually asked if I needed water. I just shoved the envelope into my jacket pocket, muttered something about allergies, and walked out so fast I probably looked like I'd robbed the place. I sat in my car for a long time. The envelope felt heavier than paper should ever feel. My mom's handwriting always did something to me, even when she was alive. It was this soft, rounded script, like someone trying to write gently. It made me feel like a kid again just looking at it. I finally opened it in the parking lot of a Home Depot. I don't know why I pulled in there. Maybe because it was big and anonymous and full of strangers minding their business. Maybe because there's something comforting about sitting in a car surrounded by people buying lumber and seasonal flowers. Normal people doing normal things. The envelope had a single sheet of paper, and on it, at the top, dead center, she'd written, "Tyler stole from me. Protect yourself." 5 words, but the last 2 hit like a gut punch. My first reaction? I laughed again. That same unhinged laugh from the lawyer's office. The kind that makes people look over like you're about to snap. I wasn't laughing because it was funny. I was laughing because reality rewired itself in one sentence. All this time, I've been walking around thinking I was the disappointment, the untrustworthy one, the son who somehow hurt her memory. Meanwhile, the guy who paraded around as her golden child had been the one she didn't trust. But the thing that broke me wasn't the accusation against him. It was the part directed at me. Protect yourself. She knew something. She saw something. She warned me. And she didn't get the chance to say it out loud. I sat there for maybe 20 minutes, maybe 2 hours. I honestly can't remember. Just holding that note against the steering wheel and trying to breathe. Grief shows up in weird waves. But this wasn't grief. This was betrayal finally snapping into focus after years of fog. My mom wasn't always great with big confrontations. She was a peacemaker, the kind of person who believed people could come back from their worst moments. But she wasn't naive. She saw through people, especially her own kids. And if she wrote that down, put it in a safety deposit box, it meant she knew Tyler would try something after she died. I kept rereading the words until they blurred. They didn't tell a whole story, but they told enough. After I calmed down enough to drive, I went home and did something I should have done 3 years ago. I called the lawyer who handled my mom's will. He picked up on the second ring, sounding like someone who had retired 5 years ago but kept the office because he liked the routine. I told him what I found. He let out a long exhale that felt like he'd been holding it for a while. "Adam," he finally said, "I wasn't sure if you'd ever open it." My stomach dropped. "You knew?" "I didn't know what was inside," he clarified. "But your mother made it clear that the contents were intended for you and only you. She insisted it not be opened before her passing." Then his tone shifted, hesitant, like he was thinking through old memories. She was concerned. About Tyler. Financially, mainly. She didn't want to put accusations in legal documents, but she made comments. What kind of comments? That she was missing cash, jewelry, small things. Things she didn't want to accuse him of, but didn't feel comfortable ignoring. I went silent. He did too. It felt like we were both processing something we'd avoided for years. Finally, I asked the question that had been eating at me since the funeral. Why did she leave him the house? The line stayed quiet for a few seconds, and then he said something that changed everything. She didn't. For a second, I genuinely thought I misheard. He repeated it, slower. "Your mother didn't leave the house to Tyler." I. "I was in the office when you read the will." "You literally said." "I read what was in front of me," he interrupted. "But the original will she signed left the house split between you both. 50-50. I felt my pulse in my teeth. "What do you mean the original will?" I asked. He sighed. The kind of sigh that carries years of regret. "Your brother contacted my office 2 days before the will reading. He said he found a more recent version among your mother's papers. I'd known your family decades, Adam. I trusted too easily. I didn't check the signing witnesses carefully enough. That's on me. My grip tightened around the phone until my knuckles went white. Are you telling me Tyler forged our mother's will? I can't say that, he said. Not without evidence. But I can say that what he presented was not the document your mother and I drafted 6 months before her death. I didn't respond. I couldn't. My mind was spinning too fast, falling into years of moments that suddenly made horrifying sense. Tyler asking for money. Mom whispering she didn't know where her ring went. The last week of her life, him showing up suddenly with a folder of paperwork she needed to sign. Her looking uncomfortable. Her telling me later, I don't want to deal with him today, sweetie. Let's just watch TV. The lawyer's voice broke into my thoughts. Adam, what was in that envelope? Exactly. I read it to him. Silence again. Then he said, if you're ready, there are legal steps we can take. But I wasn't thinking about lawyers. Not yet. I was thinking about something else. If my mother went through the trouble of hiding that message, what else had she tried to protect me from? And how far had Tyler gone to protect himself? I wasn't ready for the answer, but I was about to get it anyway. I didn't confront Tyler right away. I know that's what most people would expect. Some dramatic showdown where I storm into the house he stole and shove the note in his face. But that's the thing about betrayal that runs deep. You don't react with fire. You react with cold calculation. You react like someone who's suddenly seeing the world clearly for the first time in years, and every move feels like it matters. The lawyer sent me a copy of the original the next morning. It came through as a scanned PDF, slightly tilted, faint shadow on the corner from his office lamp. My mom's signature was there. Her real one. Not the shaky, overly perfect version that showed up on the will Tyler brought in. Her real signature looked alive, like she was still leaning over the counter of her kitchen, signing school permission slips for me when I forgot them. Seeing it was like being punched in the chest. I printed it. Then I printed the forged version the lawyer had scanned for me from the reading 3 years ago. I laid them side by side on my dining table. I didn't need a handwriting analyst to tell the difference. One was my mom. One was someone trying to be her. And whoever had done it wasn't that good. That was the part that almost made me laugh. Tyler wasn't a mastermind. He never was. He'd always been a guy who half-assed everything and expected life to bail him out. I guess the family lawyer being old-fashioned and trusting had been the perfect bailout. I stared at those 2 documents until the sun went down, until the shadows in my living room made the signatures blur, until I realized I wasn't angry in the explosive, flip-a-table way. I was angry in the quiet, surgical way. I needed to know how deep this went, so I drove to the house. Yeah, the house. My childhood home. The one I hadn't stepped foot in since the funeral. He'd painted it some ugly shade of gray that looked like a default color option from a bargain paint brand. The grass was patchy. The porch light flickered. Mom would have hated it. His truck was in the driveway, dented like always. I didn't announce myself. I didn't even knock. I walked around the side and went straight to the garage keypad. The code never changed, 1-9-7-4. Her birth year. Ty never bothered changing anything unless he could benefit from it. The keypad light turned green, and the door rolled up with that familiar grinding noise that always made Mom say she needed to call someone about it. She never did. The garage smelled like mold and cheap motor oil. There were boxes everywhere, new ones, old ones with duct tape so thick it looked like armor. But what caught my eye was a stack of plastic storage bins shoved behind the water heater, the kind Mom used to keep holiday decorations in. I don't know what pulled me to them. Instinct, maybe. Or the fact that my mom had once told me, if anything ever happens to me, check the places he doesn't think anyone will look. I pulled the bins out. The first was full of old Christmas stuff. The second was full of Dad's tools. But the third one stopped me. Inside were 3 velvet jewelry boxes, a pearl necklace, 2 rings, and Mom's gold bracelet, the one she wore every birthday, every graduation, every anniversary. The bracelet she told the nurse went missing the week before she passed. I sat down on the cold garage floor. My throat tightened. My ears rang. I reached out and touched it like it might disappear. She didn't lose anything. Tyler took it. I don't know how long I sat there. Maybe 10 minutes. Maybe an hour. Grief hit me in a different way. Not like missing her. More like mourning the version of her last months I didn't know about. The fear she must have carried. The sense of betrayal growing inside her. When I finally stood up, my knees cracked like I'd been kneeling too long in a church pew. I grabbed the bracelet, the necklace, the rings, and put them in my jacket. The next bin down was filled with something else. Envelopes. Dozens of them. Many were opened, some ripped, some crumpled. Medical bills. Late notices. Letters from debt collectors. And one I recognized immediately. A bank statement from the exact credit union where the safety deposit box was. It was addressed to my mom. The mailing address had been scratched out and replaced with Tyler's handwriting. And that's when it clicked. He'd been intercepting her mail. Not just once. Not just accidentally. He'd been doing it for months. He'd been stealing from her while she was alive, then covering his tracks when she got too weak to check her own mail. He probably thought he'd get away with it forever. I wasn't ready for what was under those letters. There was a broken cell phone. Her cell phone. The one I thought we lost in the move to hospice. I turned it over in my hand. The screen was cracked. The case was dented. But the battery wasn't swollen. It still had her little flower sticker on the back. The one she said made her phone less boring. I slid it into my pocket like it was a relic. Then I heard the front door slam. Tyler's voice echoed through the house. Whoever's in my garage better have a damn good reason. He turned the corner and froze when he saw me. Sweatshirt, jeans, work boots. Same as always. But his face. He went pale so fast it was almost comedic. "What are you doing here?" he demanded. I just stared at him. Not angry. Not scared. Just done. "I found Mom's bracelet," I said quietly. I held it up. His eyes flicked to it, then away. Too fast. "Don't start with this again," he snapped. "I don't have time for." But I didn't let him finish. Because there was one more thing I found in that garage. Something I hadn't processed yet. Something I was still holding in my other hand, without even realizing it. The original envelope from the safety deposit box. The one with my name on it. Tyler's eyes zeroed in on it like a dog tracking a dropped steak. "You opened it," he said. Not a question. A realization. That was when I finally saw it. Fear. Real fear. Not guilt. Not annoyance. Fear. "Yeah," I said. My voice sounded different. Steady. I opened it. And just like that, his whole world started to crack. I don't know what I expected him to do. Maybe deny everything. Maybe try to spin some story about how I misunderstood what I found. That had always been his go-to strategy. Create enough noise and confusion that people just gave up trying to sort through it. But this time, the usual smugness wasn't there. The garage light flickered above us, and for the first time in years, I saw him without the performance. No manufactured outrage. No condescending brother act. Just a man cornered by the truth he'd spent years burying. "Give me that," he said, pointing at the envelope. His voice cracked midway through. I didn't even flinch. "No." He took one step closer. Not aggressive, more like desperate. "Adam, you don't understand." Mom wasn't. She wasn't thinking clearly near the end. That sentence snapped something in me. "Don't," I said. Not loud. Just final. "Don't you dare talk about her like that." He opened his mouth again, but I cut him off. "You stole from her." His face tightened. "That's not. You stole from her while she was sick." I said again, slower this time. "You forged her will. You intercepted her mail. You took her jewelry and hid it in your damn garage." He looked away like the concrete floor suddenly got fascinating. "You're twisting things." "Am I?" I held up the bracelet. "This fell off her wrist? Into your storage bin? Next to a pile of debt letters addressed to her, but delivered here." His jaw moved like he was chewing air. He knew he couldn't talk his way out of this. Not anymore. And then he said something so pathetic it would have been funny if it wasn't so disgusting. "She told me I could take some things." "Which things?" I asked. He hesitated. A long, painful silence. "Whatever I needed." I almost laughed. Not the unhinged kind this time. Just sheer disbelief. "Whatever you needed?" I repeated. "She was dying, Ty. She could barely lift a cup of water. And you think she meant for you to take her jewelry and rewrite her will?" He started pacing, running his hands through his hair like he was trying to tear out the guilt. "You don't get it. You don't know how much pressure she put on me. You were always the favorite. She told everyone that." I blinked. "What the hell are you talking about?" "She leaned on me more," he said, voice rising. "Expected more from me. You always got the sympathy card. The baby. The gentle one. The good son." There it was. His lifelong chip on his shoulder, finally spilling out. "Ty," I said quietly, "Mom didn't expect more from you. She tiptoed around you. She was scared of setting you off." "That's not true." But even he didn't sound convinced. I reached into my jacket and pulled out the piece of paper. The 5 words that started all of this. His eyes locked onto it like it was a loaded weapon. "You want to know what she really thought?" I asked. He didn't respond. He just stared. I handed it to him. He unfolded it with shaking fingers. His eyes scanned the sentence once, then again, slower. He froze. And then, I watched it happen, the exact moment those 5 words detonated inside him. He closed his eyes, swallowed. His throat bobbed like he couldn't breathe. Adam, he whispered. She didn't mean this. She wrote it, I said, in her handwriting. Put it in a safety deposit box, just for me. She wanted me to know the truth. He looked like someone had reached into his chest and ripped out whatever was left of the person he pretended he was. Why didn't she tell me? He asked. The question was so stupid I almost felt bad for him. Because she knew you'd deny it, I said. Just like you're denying everything now. He sank onto the concrete floor, elbows on his knees, hands over his face. I'd seen him cry maybe twice in my life. This wasn't crying. This was the sound a person makes when their entire narrative collapses. I didn't comfort him. I didn't move. I just watched the truth settle over him like cement. After a long minute, he asked, barely audible, "What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet. Please," he whispered. "Please don't ruin me." I stared at him. Ruin him? He ruined me. He ruined years of my life. He ruined the memory of our mother by making me look like a thief. He isolated me from family, took the house, took the last pieces of her, and then walked around acting like the broken-hearted golden son. The audacity of him asking me for mercy made something inside me finally go quiet. "I'm not doing anything," I said. "The truth will." He looked up, confused. That was the moment I pulled out Mom's old phone. His face drained of color. "Where did you?" he started. "In your garage," I said. "With everything else." He swallowed hard. It doesn't work. It's broken. "I don't need it to work," I said. "I just need it to charge." He stared at the phone like it was alive, like it could speak. And maybe it could, because if he had gone that far, stealing, forging, intercepting mail, maybe he'd gone farther. Maybe there were messages. Maybe audio recordings. Maybe notes. Maybe something she tried to save when she felt him closing in. He must have realized that too, because he lunged toward me. Not in a violent way, more like a panicked animal trying to grab something it knows will destroy it. I stepped back. He froze mid-reach, arm half extended, eyes wild. "Don't," I warned. He dropped his hand. The garage felt like it shrank, the air tightening around us. I put the phone back in my pocket. "I'm not hiding anymore," I said. "I'm done letting you control the story." "Adam," he whispered again, but the fight was gone. All that was left was fear. "I'm going to figure out what Mom wanted me to know," I told him. "Whatever that is." And with that, I walked toward the garage door. Before I stepped out, I heard him say, quiet, cracking, almost childlike, "She wasn't supposed to leave anything for you." I turned. "What?" But he just stared at the floor, shaking. The truth was unraveling faster than he could contain it. And I wasn't finished pulling the thread. I didn't go home right away. I drove around for a while, down streets I didn't recognize anymore, past new buildings, closed down shops, places that used to mean something but didn't anymore. My mom's phone felt hot in my jacket pocket, like it was radiating everything she never got to say. Every mile I drove, the weight of it pressed harder. When I finally got home, I didn't turn on any lights. I plugged the phone into an old charging cable I dug out of a drawer. For a few minutes, nothing happened. The screen stayed black, lifeless, a decade-old relic. Then, slowly, it lit up. The lock screen was a picture of me and Mom from my college graduation. She had that soft smile she used to get whenever she was proud. I hadn't seen that picture in years. Seeing it again hit so hard I had to sit down. There was no password. That almost made me laugh. Mom never remembered passwords. She'd always ask me to help her reset them, then forget them again a week later. I opened her messages first. The first few were exactly what you'd expect. Reminders from pharmacies, cousins checking in, spam. But the last thread was from Tyler. My hands shook as I opened it. His text started kind, helpful, concerned. Then, over weeks, they turned sharper, more controlling, more frequent. A pattern formed. "Mom, I told you I'd handle the bills. Stop confusing things. I need you to sign the forms I brought. They're important. Where did you put the checkbook? If you don't trust me, maybe I shouldn't be helping you at all." And the worst one, if Adam gets involved, he'll just make this harder for everyone. Let me deal with it. Don't tell him. She responded only a handful of times. Mostly short sentences. Apologies. Explanations. fear woven between the lines. Then there was a voice memo. Just one, dated 2 weeks before she died. I stared at it for a long time. I almost didn't open it. Some part of me didn't want her voice resurrected this way. But the other part, the part that had carried guilt for years, needed to hear it. I pressed play. Her voice came through faint, breathless, weak, but hers. Adam, honey, I don't know if you'll ever hear this. I hope you do. I'm scared. Something's wrong. Tyler's been taking things. Money, jewelry, papers. He says he's helping, but he's not. A pause. A shaky inhale. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't want to make you worry. You've already done so much. But I need you to protect yourself. If he does something after I'm gone, please, please don't let him ruin you. She coughed. Hard. The kind that rattles through a person. I love you, she said softly. You've always been my good boy. I'm sorry I didn't say more. I'm sorry I didn't stop him. The recording ended with a click. I sat there, holding the phone like it might shatter in my hands. My eyes burned. My chest felt too tight. All the years of doubt, shame, isolation, every question I'd tortured myself with, collapsed under the truth. She knew. She saw everything. She tried to protect me. I stayed there for I don't know how long, listening to the recording again and again, until the words carved themselves into my bones. By morning, the decision was made for me. I emailed the lawyer the recording, the real will, pictures of the jewelry, and a statement about the mail I found. He called me within 10 minutes, more awake than he probably had been in years. Adam, this is enough, he said. This is more than enough. The next few days were a blur. Meetings, documents, legal filings, words like fraud and forgery spoken in rooms that made everything feel colder. The lawyer asked if I wanted to pursue criminal charges. I didn't answer right away. Part of me wanted to. Part of me wanted him to feel every ounce of the pain he put me through. But another part, the part my mother raised, hesitated. Then the lawyer said something that tipped the scale. He weaponized your grief, he said. He took advantage of her illness and your love for her. You deserve justice, not just closure. Justice. The word tasted right, like it belonged here. So I said yes. News travels fast in families, especially the ones that disappear when things get messy, but magically reappear when drama hits. Within 48 hours, I got texts from people I hadn't spoken to since the funeral. Some apologizing, some clarifying, some pretending they always supported me. I ignored all of them, but the one that hit hardest came from Tyler. Just 2 words. I'm sorry. I didn't respond. A week later, the court served him. The forged will was invalidated. The house legally reverted to my ownership, mine alone, since Mom's original 50-50 split defaulted to me after proving his fraud. He was given 30 days to vacate. I didn't go to the house during the move out. I didn't want to see him pack up the life he stole. I didn't want to hear excuses. I didn't want more apologies he didn't mean. But he left something for me. A small cardboard box on the kitchen counter. Inside were 3 things. The fake will, a house key, and a note that said, "She loved you more than I could handle. I'm sorry for everything." I read it once. Then I tore it in half. I'm still unpacking the house. It doesn't feel like home yet. It probably won't for a while. Too many ghosts. Too many memories. Too many empty spaces where her voice should be. But last night, I stood in the doorway of her old room, holding the bracelet he took from her. I slipped it onto my wrist, not because it fit, it didn't, but because it felt like the closest thing to her hand I'd ever have again. And for the first time since she died, the guilt lifted. Not all at once, not cleanly, but enough to breathe. Her last words to me, her real ones, weren't about fear or warning. They were about love. And that's the part I'm finally letting myself keep. If you made it all the way to the end, thanks for sticking with me. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the story, consider subscribing to the channel and giving the video a like. It helps me share more stories like this. Thanks.